Gotta Love Connecticut Hockey sat down with Matt Moulson, a Canadian-born pro player with unique ties to Connecticut. Entering his 13th year playing professional hockey, Matt has played for the LA Kings, New York Islanders, and the Buffalo Sabres. So you grew up in Ontario, Canada, yet we often see you here in the off-season. So can you tell us a little bit about your Connecticut connection?
Pretty simple. My wife made me move here. The first summer, I think it was, I was looking for a trainer in the area, and I found Ben Prentice to work out here. Been here ever since.
How did you get your start in hockey?
I think my dad always loved hockey. He took me out the first time. I cried the entire time. He said he wasn't taking me out ever again, and then the next time I went out, I think it was a year later, I ended up loving it and doing it ever since.
You played juniors in Canada before coming down to play D1 hockey at Cornell. So what difference, if any, have you noticed between the American and Canadian hockey cultures?
Not much, I think, just from seeing my father-in-law, him coaching the younger teams, same crazy parents. I mean, US, from when I started playing hockey, I think it's just come a huge way in terms of hockey and how many people play hockey and all the programs they have involved. So I think they're very similar.
You also play lacrosse, and you were drafted into the National Lacrosse League as well as the National Hockey League. So what was it like growing up, balancing the two sports, and what made you decide to actually move forward with hockey?
Playing hockey and lacrosse, there's a lot of similarities between them and stuff that I thought, in lacrosse helped me. In hockey, the contact element of it, being able to protect the ball. My lifetime, I was not great at hockey for a couple years there when I was younger, and I always had lacrosse to kind of fall back on. Didn't hit my growth spurt till late, and I remember having really tough years in hockey, but then the summertime would come and I'd play lacrosse, and it was just kind of an escape from the hockey season, being able to do well in lacrosse and still have a sport to do well in. And in terms of a future in the sport, I always wanted to be an NHL player. I'm sure if that didn't work out, I would have maybe tried to do it in lacrosse.
You played in the AHL, NHL, and you've got to travel West Coast, East Coast, everywhere in between. So what are some of your highlights of your pro career so far?
I think scoring my first goal in the NHL was something I'll always remember. Having good years in Long Island was a lot of fun. Going back to the AHL this year, the respect for the grind. I mean, you get to the NHL and it's unbelievable. You get to travel on these chartered first-class flights, and you have guys a league below you. You're grinding away on Southwest flights and taking buses, and I don't know, it was something I just embraced this year. It made it really fun to go through that with guys trying to make their mark in the league, and that was a fun thing to do.
It's been more than 10 years since you've gone pro, so how has your perspective of the game changed over your career?
I think you're a little naive when you come into pro sports. I think there's a lot of different things that go into professional sports, and trying to understand those things and understanding how the business models work of each team. But when it comes down to it, goal is to put the puck in the net. So it stayed the same. It's a lot of grind, a lot of pressure, especially guys have young families and moving families. I think we understood that quickly the one year. I think my son was 2 weeks old. We got traded to Buffalo, then traded in March to Minnesota. So it's not all fun and games. There's a lot of serious things involved at times.
When Gotta Love Connecticut Hockey sat down with you in 2012, you were expecting the birth of your daughter.
I have a baby due any time now.
Congratulations. Baby girl, right?
Baby girl.
So do you think that your daughter is going to play hockey?
Well, it was up to me, she would. We'll see what my wife says.
Now you have a daughter and a son, so do they like to get out on the ice?
My daughter's more of a dancer, loves the dancing, but my son, I could care less what sport he plays, but I think he's taken a love to hockey, so I guess if he wants to do that, then we'll help him out with that.
So what do you think is important for parents to remember with their kids in youth hockey?
Different kids are good at different ages. I think sometimes maybe parents get a little too caught up in that when their kids are good, younger. Everyone thinks their kid's going to the NHL. There's a lot of luck and hard work involved in getting there, and I think when they're younger, it's a lot about having fun. And obviously there's a time when you have to devote much of your life to becoming a professional athlete if you want to do that. But I think when they're younger, you say develop a great athlete, play a lot of sports, not worrying about the small picture, like the year-to-year things. If you're going to get there, there's a lot of different things that have to happen, right? It's a long journey. I think people lose sight of that sometimes.
Because you've married into the Connecticut hockey family, what are some of your favorite Connecticut things to do or see or places to go?
I love golfing. If you spend a lot of family time together, do a lot of stuff as a family at the restaurants. Like the whole family together is always a blast. So we love Valdoa, that's probably our number one. But other than that, I think we're pretty low-key in the summer.
What's next for you in your hockey career?
It's a good question. I don't know. Try to play as long as my body holds up, and then move on to next stage of life. See where that is.
How does your body feel?
Feels good. Could do without some of the Southwest flights and bus rides this past season, but I'm ready to do them again. So I think it feels good. So we'll keep going as long as we can.